but our lead this hour coming from Chicago. Why we are ambulance chasers in talk radio. We love a good car accident, and this is like an 18-car pileup on the side of the expressway there in Chicago. The bad news bears of the NFL. Now, this is about a former Bears coach, not a head coach, a former Bears offensive coordinator who has laid down the gauntlet on everyone's favorite punching bag, Justin Fields, who won the MVP award. You might remember ESPN gave him the MVP award in the offseason. Unfortunately, he has not been able to actually complete many passes at all in the real season, the one that actually counts. But he did win the offseason, so he's always got that. Now, Mike Martz. That guy, Mike Martz. Yeah, that's him. One of the greatest interactions with the media ever. Mike Martz coaching the St. Louis Rams. Mark Bolger. It was just wonderful. So anyway, Mike Martz went on a rant. He's now a football pundit. And he went on a rant about Justin Fields. If you didn't hear this, maybe not. Mike Martz has now called for Justin Fields to take a clipboard and take his helmet off. Let's go to the audio tape. Take a listen.
I think this whole situation with him has demoralized his team. I think he's brought it down. If they don't make a change, I think it's just going to get worse, if it's possible to get worse. It's a demoralized football team that's headed down, and if that's possible. And I think you're almost forced to make a change at this point, whether it's Tyson Bagent or whoever it is. Whoever they decide at this point, I think you do have to make a change.
I butchered the guy's name. It's Baguette, I believe. But anyway, that point aside, he said put somebody else in. Martz also went on. We have another soundbite here of Martz. He said he was asked about what the problem is with Justin Fields. What are the issues here with Justin Fields? The meat and potatoes of throwing the football, playing quarterback in the NFL. And here's what he said. Take a listen.
There's no question about his ability to throw a football. I wouldn't question that, but just a cognitive skill, he just doesn't have it. And he's just going to hold it. And he's trying to prove that he can play quarterback in this league, and I think he's proved that that's probably not the case.
Oh, body blow. Oh, man, that was a shot. He's trying to prove he can play quarterback in the league, Mike Martz said, and I think he's proved he probably not the case. All right, so let us discuss the question. Can we help you, the consumer, you, the listener, can we help you understand what Mike Martz is getting at with the Justin Fields rant? So I've got Twilight Zone, surfing, and Porky Pig. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a nice Chicago-style hot dog. That's what we're going to make there from the Windy City. So, number one. Which is, by the way, where the Bears will likely be picking if they keep playing Justin Fields. They'll be picking number one. All right. So, Mike Martz, hey, he loves kicking a person when they're down. And he's still bitter about how things went in Chicago. That's part of this. Not that everything he said wasn't completely accurate, but Mike Martz felt like he got a raw deal in Chicago. He thought things were going to work out better for him there in the Windy City. But my hypothesis here is that what Mike Martz said is flawed because he's like, well, we've got to bench him. The Bears. His assumption is the Bears are trying to win. And I'm of the belief the Bears aren't trying to win games. If they were trying to win games, they would have, of course, gotten rid of Fields before this season. He sucked last year, despite what your favorite bloviating gas bag or talking head on television had to say. Fields was one of the worst quarterbacks in the last 30 years in the NFL last season. And yet the Bears brought him back. They had the number one pick. Now, maybe they're right because these quarterbacks in the draft aren't very good, and they're in better position now to draft one of the top quarterbacks in the next draft, which is supposed to be better next year. But it's always a crapshoot. But you knew you had a guy that couldn't play in Justin Fields. You knew it. Everyone said it. That knew football. The idiots on TV that don't know football, they were like, oh, this guy's great. Slobber, lick. It was terrible. And so based on what I've seen, the Bears aren't trying to win, so let's get that out. They struggle to block and tackle. The basics of football 101, blocking and tackling. And if you were to base this on the old school mantra, And Mike Martz is from the old school. He's 85% of the Chicago Bears roster would be benched, and I think I'm going low on that. It's not a meritocracy, certainly not at quarterback. Meritocracy is you play based on your talent, and that's it, and that's not what's going on at quarterback in Chicago. Justin Fields is the 31st ranked quarterback after stinking last year. He's also 31st in completion rate. I can give you all kinds of numbers here, 28th in pass yards. Justin Fields, specifically playing quarterback, I believe he's playing because he's entitled by the Chicago Bears, right? That they have ulterior motives here. They had this belief that maybe they were wrong, and all the scouts that said this guy couldn't play a lick, they were wrong. And this guy's got a little something, a little pixie dust. He's got some magic to him. And a lot of it is the social media clout, which is intoxicating. It's the Twilight Zone. Imagine, if you will, a world where popularity trumps performance, where winning doesn't matter and notoriety is king. Justin, a social media creation, winning many clicks, right? Backseat social media users who don't actually watch the NFL. They just react to highlights. They look at those fun zone clips of Justin Fields slicing up defense, like the defense for the Lions or the Minnesota Vikings, while the Bears are down by 4 touchdowns. But they're like, wow, that's really impressive, right? And it plays well on TikTok. It does well. The NFL marketing is invested. People at Reebok, they got hornswoggled into signing Justin Fields as the face of the franchise. Wow. Like to see how the stockholders of that company are thinking about that decision. But there's all these different variables when it comes to Justin Fields, why the Bears are hell-bent on sticking with him. So Mike Martz, while he's correct that Fields does deserve to be benched and should be benched, he's not going to be benched. And the other thing is the Bears actually have a winnable game. Someone's going to win between the Bears and the Broncos this week. Boy, if the Broncos lose to Justin Fields, whew, man. All right, now, page 2. We head to New York City, where the Jets have made their move. They've shot their shot. Story that has not gotten a lot of attention. I don't know why. The Jets have picked up a veteran quarterback. And we have learned the New York Jets have agreed to terms with free agent quarterback Trevor Simeon. Ha ha! Yeah, Trevor Simeon. He's going to be on the practice squad. The expectation is that shortly after he will be on the roster. Simeon is 31 years old. He has never been good, but he joins a quarterback room that smells like sulfur. You've got Zach Wilson on one side, Tim Boyle on my ass on the other, and now you add Trevor Simeon. So what are the Jets saying? What are the Jets saying by adding Trevor Simeon? They are saying they don't give a crap about the product on the field. That's what they're saying. That they are announcing it from the highest point they can get to. They're like, hey, we don't really care. That's it. We just got our head kicked in offensively again, back-to-back weeks. And Simeon's a guy that knows a thing or two about that because he often ends up in that situation. And Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh. Here's what the analogy. Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh are surfing in a Cat 5 hurricane named Zach. Hurricane Zach, Cat 5, winds of 157-plus miles per hour, flying debris everywhere. And there's Hugh Douglas and Robert Saleh. The place is flooding. The Jets facility is flooding. And these two bozos are out there, and they're going, cowabunga, dude. We love this Zach Wilson guy. And now we added Trevor Simeon. Aren't we great? Watch out for the riptide. All right. Now, final point. Now, while the Jets play the fiddle as Rome burns, if you will, there is a notorious figure from the NFL past who's knocking on the door. Knock, knock. And that would be none other than Colin Kaepernick, or as he was known at the end of his career with the 49ers, Colin Kaepernick, who is under center there for nobody, because he hasn't played in the NFL. He wrote a letter, and of course the letter was released publicly. Why wouldn't you release the letter publicly if you're an attention whore? So the letter was released publicly through J. Cole asking the Jets to add him to the practice squad. and it bounced around. So why did Colin Kaepernick make sure this letter saw the light of social media? So this was obviously strategic by Colin Kaepernick. He knows the Jets don't want him. Woody Johnson's not a fan of Colin Kaepernick. He don't want him on the team. But he also knows, and this is the most important part, Colin Kaepernick is aware that when he gets something out there like this, where he's interested in going to a team, he throws something out there, that there's certain factions of the media that eat this stuff up like Porky Pig and slop, right? Oink, oink. They love it. It's like going down to the Piggly Wiggly and getting all the food you want for free. Can't get enough of it. Colin Kaepernick turns 36 years old in November. So he's already passed the date of no return. He hasn't played an NFL game in almost 7 years. Almost 7 years. So you can say, hey, goodbye. But not he has to keep putting his name out there because he's got endorsements with Nike. Other companies, other woke companies are like, we love Kaepernick. He's good for business, right? And all that stuff. So Kaepernick's got a bunch of endorsement deals. And so he's got to keep his name out there. Otherwise, he's completely irrelevant. But it really works. You're playing the martyr card. And he's playing the martyr card. So it works out well. See, they'll make another documentary about Kaepernick or a movie. Say, he kept trying even when he was 50 years old. And no NFL team would sign him. And they'll list all the NFL teams he wanted to play for. And they all said no to him.